Hey, Spence.
Yeah.
Have you seen After Yang?
I do not believe I have. No.
Well... Now you have.
I have, and I really fucking like it.
Yeah, it's really good. I watched it like literally like a week ago for the first time, and then I was like, I'm making this my podcast recommendation of the week, and then I was like, screw it, we're making it an episode. So then we made it an episode. So Spencer, what'd you think? What'd you know about this movie before watching it?
That, I think, is an important part of the conversation because nothing.
Yeah, same.
Like, I knew who was in it, and
Yeah.
I knew that it was probably vaguely melancholic,
Yeah.
but nothing. I didn't even know it was a, spoiler alert, sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
At all. I had no clue.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like a little family drama.
Yeah.
And it is,
Yeah.
but with a sci-fi twist.
Yeah. Like I don't remember how I saw it. It was a sci-fi movie. I think it was on somebody's like top 10 sci-fi movies of 2022 or whatever, or that they saw in 2022. And so I was like, I didn't even know it was sci-fi.
No.
I had no idea. And so I was like, screw it. I'm watching it. I love a good sci-fi. And I was like, I'm just going to do it.
You are known to be a sci-fi boy.
I'm a sci-fi boy. And this movie absolutely 100% exemplifies what I love about sci-fi movies. And that is its ability to, with a sci-fi premise, talk so deeply and beautifully about the human experience. It's like through science fiction technology and ideas, people have been able to really thoughtfully and beautifully talk about like what it means to be human and like dealing with grief and dealing with family and this movie could not have been explored in the same way without the sci-fi elements present throughout. And so that's what I love about sci-fi, and movies like this just show what you can do with sci-fi that isn't like Star Wars, which, don't get me wrong, also love Star Wars. But like not everything about sci-fi is like lasers and big action and all that kind of stuff. It can also be like quiet, thoughtful little dramas about a family.
I think that of genre in general.
Yeah.
I think horror exemplifies it and sci-fi exemplifies it more than maybe anything else.
Right.
Like, horror has always been a way to explore fear in a hyper heightened way, but you look at the really good ones of the past couple years, Hereditary, Midsummer, Get Out, Nope, Us. They're all these thoughtful meditations on the world.
Yeah.
Through the prism of monsters and ghosts and possession and whatever.
Right.
But sci-fi has this interesting ability to go like look into the future and be so ponderous about where we're going more so than where we are.
Yeah.
But where we're going is still the human experience.
Yeah.
And so it's still deeply relatable today.
Yeah.
A movie that I really like, one of my favorite movies ever, is Her with Joaquin Phoenix.
Same.
That is a brilliant movie, and it is so similar to After Yang.
Yeah.
In that it's just pondering if humans had access to this thing, what would that be?
Yeah.
And it's not talking plot, it's talking character.
Yeah.
And After
100%.
Yang like exemplifies that in the weirdest way at times, where it's like, okay, wait, so this kid is a like what do they call them? Technosapien. And we get that that's a robot.
Yeah.
But what it's being used for is not what you would think.
Yeah.
Like, it's Yang, the character. I mean, he's kind of more of a presence in the movie than he is a full character,
Yeah.
I think, which is a really interesting screenwriting like tool they use. But Yang is like the big brother to this adopted child in this family to try to, whatever, that kind of thing. And it's like, what world would this be what we use that advanced of a technology for? But it's never even hinted at that this technology could be dangerous.
Yeah.
It's more, curious and new. Like there's a
Right.
whole organization studying what they choose to record in their memory.
Yeah.
Like what do technosapiens, what do they deem worthy of note?
Yeah.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And I love that angle. Like I believe that might be where the movie started.
Yeah.
Where somebody had this thought of like, well, what would a robot choose to remember?
Yeah.
And then they built this whole thing around it.
Yeah. I just like I love how optimistic this movie is.
Yes.
Like this has such an infectious optimism about humanity and about our future in such a beautiful way. Like I love, like, so often any movie that takes place in the future, I mean, like, understandably, but any movie that takes place in the future has a very pessimistic view and a very bleak view,
verging on dystopian and
almost always dystopian. It's like movies like this and movies like Her, where it's like, nah, everybody's just gonna be chilling. Like,
yeah,
like we just gonna be chill. Like it's hard not to see this. I just love it so much. It's just like I said, it's just super infectious. Where it's like, yeah, the one of the plot points. Spoilers after Yang. If you haven't seen it, why are you even watching this? Like, why are you listening to this if you haven't seen that movie? But one of the plot points in the movie is, they find Yang stops working, and then he takes it to the guy's friend who's like this weird kind of conspiracy theorist guy about what these technosapiens are being used for. And he finds the memory chip inside of Yang's core. And he's like, oh, it's spyware. They're trying to spy on it, or spy on you using it. And then, like, you come to find out, it's like, no, they're just trying to find out what technosapiens find memorable. And, like, and everything that he finds Yang finds memorable are all, like, beautiful and, like, calm and still or sweet. Or, like, I just, like, it's all just a super optimistic view of, like, not only, like, the technology of the future, but the people of the future. It's just, like, in a time like this where everything is really grim and people are not seeing the best in each other, it's a really beautiful take on what the future can look like. And it's, like, inspiring.
No, I agree with that. Like, something that really stuck out to me, like I kind of said, they never hint that the technology is dangerous. And there's this scene where the wife mom character, she's kind of a subplot character in it. I mean, it's mostly Colin Farrell's movie.
Yeah.
But she's talking to Yang, and Yang just, I can't remember the exact line, but he just kind of says, he's like, I'm okay if there's nothing after for me.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't think I'm supposed to, there's this sentiment there of, like, he's ponderous and he's curious. Like, there's another scene where Colin Farrell asks Haley Lou Richardson, who is amazing in this movie, I think.
Yeah.
I think everyone's amazing. Let me get that out of the way. Everybody's great in this movie.
Yeah.
But he asked her, he's like, did he want to be human? And her character, this is one thing I want to talk about for sure, but her character's just a clone.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah. I mean, she is. Yeah,
she's a clone. I say maybe because of that last scene she's in, where like she vanishes behind the tree, and I was like, I don't know quite what that means, but I like that I don't. It makes me want to watch it again and just kind of experience it.
Yeah.
But she just has this line. I think this line is so beautiful. She's like, why do humans always think that we want to strive to be you?
Yeah.
It's like, no, there are other.
What's so great about being human?
Yeah, what's so great about being human? I love that idea. And that idea, again, it's like the sci-fi thing. It's like they're literizing the experience of people who feel weird and feel like they need to find themselves.
Yeah.
Within the human experience.
Yeah.
Within the experience of, like, consciousness and sentience and those things. But it's like, it heightens it to a point of literal different species are wondering, like, but they're not. Being human isn't the goal.
Yeah.
For Yang, the goal is, like, maybe love, maybe this, but he doesn't know. And I like that Yang feels like this lost character who isn't in peril about that, who isn't in trauma about that.
Yeah.
He's just a character curious about things. And the thing, like you said, this is the best part about the whole movie to me, is the exploration of his memories.
Yeah.
And they're all just these beautiful little moments that no one else would quite understand why they're beautiful unless they are a part of it or they're witnessing it in this way.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good. I mean, in so many of the moments recorded are like trees.
Yeah.
Which is
a
shadow, light in a window.
Yeah.
Like they're things that we all take for granted, but like if you stop and you look and it's like, this is really beautiful what I'm seeing. Another little touch is there's this great scene, and they edit this super interestingly, and I want to really think about it, where they'll like play a line and they'll play the same line again, like they'll jump us back 10 seconds, and like the line is delivered differently.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool, and I want to talk about that. But before we talk about that, I love this little thing where they're talking about tea and they're talking about tasting the forest.
Mm-hmm.
And for Yang, his memory bank while he was with them was a forest.
Yeah.
With like, you can pick the point, but the core of it is this forest. And I thought that was so beautiful.
Beautiful.
After Yang, good movie.
After
guys.
Yang, good movie, guys. Like, good movie. Yeah, I love the way this movie depicts memories.
Yes. I want to talk about this for sure.
And I love the difference between how Yang, how his memories are portrayed and how our memories are portrayed, because his are factual and, you know what I mean? Like, he is seeing exactly as they happen, but they're short, you know, they're short snippets from each day. But from our memories, it's like we can remember what was said, but like exactly the tone changes, and you know, you like, no, it wasn't said like that, it was said like, you know, like,
well, and it's dealing with characters who've lost someone, and so they're trying to feel their way through. Were they soft in this moment? Were they too harsh in this moment? Was he harsh? Like, that's what they're trying to remember, right? And I love that. I think it's so good. Yeah,
those specifically, those two scenes where it's like he's talking about the tea, and then the scene with the mom character where she's talking to him about like, you know, where do we go after we die, basically. Those two scenes where it's like you see kind of different shades of emotion through the kind of different line reads, and like, yeah, like exactly like you said, like was I too soft or too hard? Was he too soft or too hard? Like how, like kind of like working through their emotions on that memory, like in real time. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, like, well, there's a third one too, which I think is the first introduction to that form of editing. I think where they're taking the photo and we're going back to that moment where it's like cacophonous. Yeah, it's like at a certain point you feel a little crazy because you're not quite keyed in onto what that emotionally is doing. Yeah. But by the end, you look back and you go, oh, it was everyone trying to remember their place in that moment. Yeah. And it's so good. Another thing that I loved, you talk about how they depict memories. This is something I want to talk about. They finally found a really cool way to show this, where they're like archive footage or whatever that may be. You know, so often you think of just like a laptop. That's how we envision it now. Yeah. Or a server, or you go into a server, like Marvel movie, go into a server and it's all these things. But this was light. Yeah, that's what it was. And as he goes back to his past families, you know, he has to compress these old photos or these old things to get to this one. And when it opens up into that first family he was with, it is just an explosion of light. Yeah. It's like a galaxy of different memories and ideas. Yeah, it's thoughts. Like a literal, like we're in that one, we're watching a lifetime of his recordings. You know, we see him with this kid as this kid grows up and he becomes forgotten and almost resented. Yeah. I love that idea that like when he goes from that family to the next one, she described him as like distraught. Yeah. And that ties into one of my favorite, it's almost a throwaway moment when they're talking about not wanting Yang to be displayed at the facility, which, by the way, again, where he would have been displayed was a forest. Yeah. Another like repetition of that idea is just so beautiful to me. But they're talking about it and he's like, I don't want him displayed. She agrees. And he goes, but I think we should let them study his memories. Yeah. And she's just like, are you sure? And the way he delivers, he's like, yes, his existence mattered. Yeah. Like to him, it's like, of course. Yeah. His existence mattered. He's been thinking about this the whole movie, and when he comes to that answer, it's just as normal as any other thing he could say in a conversation. Right. His existence mattered. I mean, before at the beginning of the movie, he was just a Chinese fun facts bot. Yeah. Like that's all he was to him. But then by the end, by seeing like how deep his emotions really were and like how much he really loved the people and the world around him, you could like see that change in how he felt about
like not only him but also like the clones that are in this world. It's like, you know, literally like, you know, seeing the world through somebody else's eyes will change how you feel about that person. You know what I mean? Or that type of person.
I think there's a cynical way to look at this movie.
Yeah.
To after it all end, not cynical, and I think the movie isn't telegraphing this, but I think people might watch it and their inability to maybe suspend disbelief on what a programmed being would be.
Yeah.
I could see some people kind of coming out of it being like, well, he was programmed to love all these people. So, of course, in the data, that's why he's recording these things. But the movie doesn't believe that.
No.
I don't believe for a second the movie's taking that route. No, there's a literal conversation with like the T thing. He's like, I wish I,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I wish I could. It's like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It's like, what is a soul? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's what it's exploring. But through the lens of looking back on memory and looking and realizing what it is. Like, he was a dutiful brother. He loved his younger sister. He's a robot.
Yeah.
So you could look at it and go, well, he's a robot. He's programmed. He has to.
Yeah.
But no, the moments he chose to capture, there's a million moments he could have, but those little moments of beauty.
Yeah.
That's what he chose to record.
Yeah.
And that is the difference for me. It's like, that is such a beautiful idea. And from a screenwriting standpoint, it's like, that's got to be hard to telegraph on a page.
Yeah.
Of like the quietness of it, the montaginess of it, of like, oh, it's like a 4-second clip he's watching of a girl on a swing.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
But it's so good. And another thing I love is this is like a repetition of him through the years, you know, with these different families. There's this little tiny moment where there's a scene where he's talking about his like butterfly. He's got this like butterfly collection. Again, a robot collecting something.
Yeah.
He's a being. But there's this one tiny moment, and I don't know if this was intentional, if this was me reading into it, and I also don't know if it matters because that's movies. But one of his memories was this light through a window, and the light was in the shape of half of a butterfly. And I don't know if that was just me reading into it, but like the way it was shaped was so specific, like buds, and I was like, it's like, oh, it was that moment that sparked this curiosity in him about butterflies. And again, who knows if that was intended? Who knows if that was on the page? Who knows if that was talked about?
Yeah.
But it's how I read it.
Yeah.
And that's what's also brilliant about this movie is there's a lot of ways to read it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things to uncover.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious, like, are there any notable things you kind of went, oh, that's where this was, or that's what it was on a second watch? Or was it kind of just re-experiencing it?
I mean, there were some small things that I noticed that I didn't like early in the movie, basically the first scene, I'm pretty sure, is Colin Farrell. He's at his like tea store, and a lady comes in asking for crystallized tea, and he doesn't have it. And then like a few scenes later, he actually makes a cup of tea using the crystallized tea, and like seeing his reaction drinking that versus every other time he's drinking all the other tea. You know, he takes a sip, he's like pondering it, seeing if he can taste the forest, and then he just puts it down. And it's like, because like usually every time he'll like drink the whole cup, or he'll like hold it with him, he'll keep it with him. But that time he just like puts it down. Like it isn't a huge reaction or anything like that. I just didn't catch it on the first watch that was the crystallized tea.
Yeah.
That was his reaction to it. And the rest of the time, every other time he drinks tea is like a ceremony,
It's a
almost
spiritual experience.
Yeah, legitimately.
That's something I really love. I've never quite seen depicted in a movie where, I mean, I've seen it if I dug deep enough, I could find examples. But as somebody who passionately loves something and things and art and whatever it may be, like seeing movies made poorly by people who don't care hurts me.
Yeah.
It is almost offensive to me.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's interesting seeing a movie depict that with something like tea.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and also just to see Colin Farrell do a Werner Herzog impression is like literally the most fun thing in the world.
I love
it's
that.
It's actually a pretty good impression.
It is, yeah. Yes, that's so funny. I love that story though. Just again, the idea of a man searching for it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that scene also telegraphs so much that Colin Farrell's character like views Yang as a son in many ways.
Yeah.
And then realizes how weird that makes him feel after he drinks the tea and he's like, I'm not sure I taste the forest. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's a disconnect there in a weird way. And I maybe, again, that could be something where I'm like, next time I watch it, I'll think of that entirely differently.
Yeah.
But I don't know. This movie is quiet and somber and, like you said, optimistic.
Yeah. That's literally my review on Letterboxd, is like, for a movie as somber as it is, it's surprisingly optimistic, because it's like, it has such a beautiful view of the world while also being a movie about grief, you know?
Yeah.
I absolutely like the tightrope that this movie walks is like legitimately incredible. Yeah. Like, very few movies, I think, are as successful with like being like, it's not talky. It's not, there aren't a bunch of people with huge monologues about how, it's just like quiet and like, and yet it is so thoroughly exploring these ideas, and they're so like deftly and delicately handled.
Yes.
It's phenomenal. I really, really, really love this movie.
I love a sci-fi movie, and again, it's like we talked about a little bit where it's like genre and sci-fi specific, but I'm trying to think of Arrival is a great example of this, where that's an alien invasion movie that is really just a giant blockbuster about talking to one another.
Right.
It's like there's a core to everything, and After Yang is no exception to that. Now, funny thing, this is just a little more lighthearted fun. Mm-hmm. The repetition of like the retail worker being shit on in this movie was funny to me. The cycle of it, right? Where like she's like, what kind of tea shop doesn't have crystallized tea? That's frustrating. I'm gonna go. And it just how dismissive that is. Yeah. And then he does it later to the person in the
brothers and sisters or whatever.
No, well, the brothers and sisters, but also at the coffee shop where the guy's like, he's like, and the manager, and the guy's like, and walks off to go get the. I just think that's weird. What is that saying? I don't know. And I may be hyper like analyzing because I'm working in retail right now, and it's the worst. And I was like having flashbacks, like, what do I do?
Yeah, no, that's as somebody who doesn't work in retail, I didn't quite pick up on that. That's funny.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know if I'm reading into it or if it's saying something. Like, I do think there has to be something about like how we view one another, right? Like, where so many people, like the conspiracy theory guy, looks at Yang and is like, this guy's a spyware thing and all this stuff. But some people treat him as family. But like, whenever human beings that I'm sure are kind people in real life go out and treat retail workers poorly, you're like, why? Yeah, it's so simple to be, hey, have a good one, guy, and just do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm curious if there's something there where he's talking about how we interact with people versus how we love people or not. You know what I mean? Like, there's something to be drawn from that. Maybe that's subconscious, and maybe that's just my experience watching it this time, which is a great thing about movies. Is I just rewatched Moneyball for the third or fourth time. Moneyball. And it was this time where I like realized I was really anxious watching it. Mm-hmm. And when it ended, I like leaned back and I was like, man, I can't believe I've never noticed this, but I see so much of myself in that like fictionalized Billy Bean.
Yeah.
Right? Like and who knows, maybe the next time I watch After Yang, I will feel differently. Yeah. I won't notice that. It won't be a through line for me. I don't know. But anyway, that's just a random thing I was thinking about watching. I was like, whoa, this is strange.
It's a funny thought. Yeah. No, I didn't pick up on that. That's an interesting thought. But one thing that struck me immediately from this movie and continues to strike me over and over again is just how beautiful the cinematography is. Oh my God. It's like one of the best looking movies ever. It is so gorgeous.
It is so simply covered.
Yeah.
It is not flashy.
No.
It is just like, here we are, and let's get the reverse of that. Yeah. But not how you think. It's not like a shot reverse shot type thing. It's like they're just playing a lot of it in wides.
Yeah.
And playing a lot of it with like, this is something I love that I want to figure out how to do, right? Is playing so much of it with like a character's back to the camera.
Yeah.
Right? It's again, I talked about a lot on the Searching episodes, like we telegraph so much through eyes and faces.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scenes where he'll just turn one of them around mid-scene and just keep playing it from here.
There are so many times where you see people in a reflection.
Yeah.
It's like that you can see the conversation happening through a reflection rather than just like you see one character and you see the reverse of the other character in the reflection behind the first. Just astounding.
A lot of frames within frames. Like there's so much of this movie is like having a conversation in a car. So much of this movie is driving back and forth.
A lot of this movie happens in that car.
So weird.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it while watching it.
Yeah.
Like you're just afterwards, you're like, there's a lot of scenes of just looking through that window as they drive and him talking on the phone.
Yeah.
This is another thing I like about the way this future is designed is it's really beautiful. There's a lot of green.
Yes.
There's a lot of natural colors and light. And I think that is so, again, it's like hers like that a lot.
Yeah.
In a more of like an industrial kind of like cityscape way. But her is not this like smog infested. No, her is just this is kind of a natural progression to the world if we're able to survive past climate change.
Legit.
And I think after Yang is that like, I love the moment. Have this whole scene about him talking to his daughter about getting water in the middle of the night, right? But then later he's watching the memories on the glasses and you just see her behind walk to go get water. I loved that. I thought it was so cool. And so many other movies would like show her walking and then like cut in close or do something fancy with the camera. This movie is so smart just to put it on a tripod and cover a scene.
Yeah, it is so restrained. Like so much about all of this entire movie is so restrained and delicate. And it doesn't have to overdo it. Like there's one point in the movie where it's like, this is very different. Is the very first is like the opening credits with the like dancing. Movie just goes hog wild for like a 2-minute song, and it is so fun.
I was gonna say, the funniest thing about it too, it's incredible. I love it.
And
it's still just a shot on a tripod.
Yeah.
They do all the fancy stuff with cutting and with color.
Yeah. It is so much fun.
Cool. Now, I love that. Haley Lou Richardson is in that opening dance montage.
Every character in the movie is in that opening dance montage.
Isn't that really interesting that they show her with a family?
Yeah.
The clone with a family that she still has. I really liked that. I thought that was a good...
I mean, the dude that he takes Yang to, that guy, he's one of them. The lady at the museum, she's one of them. Like every character, the guy who has the clone daughters, who lives across the way, that family is one of them. I just love that. It's super fun.
Yeah.
I have harped on this before, and it is something that usually annoys me, is when a movie changes aspect ratio within the movie. It usually kind of takes me out and usually frustrates me. This movie handles that so beautifully, and it does it for actual narrative reasons, in a way that I love.
Well, it doesn't explain it.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I don't mean to jump. My experience of that was so weird because the first time they do it, you don't realize they're on a FaceTime call.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, well, why did we? What?
Yeah.
And then the next time you're like, they're talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's this like, oh man, I loved it.
Like even I don't know if this movie was shot on film or not. But you can even tell that it's shot, if it is shot on film, it's shot on a different film stock. It's shot with a different type of lens.
Yeah, it's got a different texture.
Yeah, like it feels different. And then going between the like 2.35 to 1 like wide aspect ratio that is the rest of the movie to a taller kind of like 16:9 or a DCI for Yang's memories. I love that. Like
because it's quiet, it's subtle. It's not drawing attention to itself. It's going, well, I think this is how the memories would record, and I think we can frame these beautiful little moments in that way better. Yeah. So let's do it, and let's not be flashy about it. Let's just be nice and quiet about it.
It totally worked for me, and usually those kinds of decisions don't, because usually they're made for dumber reasons. I mean, usually it frustrates me usually when it's in like action movies and it goes from 16:9 to 2.3. That being said, I'm pretty sure Everything Everywhere All at Once does that.
Oh, and Everything Everywhere All at Once has, I think I counted it has 1 million different aspect ratios.
Right.
But there's a story reason.
Yeah.
It is supposed to call attention to itself.
Yeah.
The universe is literally changing as this new guy is in it. Look, if you're gonna do it, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to shoot it like this, but the rest of the movie needs to be like this, then just be like, well, I want to see a dude fight with a fanny pack and whatever, in the more cinematic aspect, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have the same issue with it as you do.
Yeah, and maybe I'm warming on it. I like after movies like Everything Everywhere All at Once and after Yang, who do it like right, do it well. And then even movies like Dune that go from 2.35 to like IMAX.
Yeah,
and that like I enjoyed
that definitely doesn't bother me.
Yeah,
jumping to IMAX because it's like in those moments I want the grandiosity of it. There are certain movies back when they first started doing that where it was like every other shot was, then it's a little annoying.
Yeah.
But with something like Dune where it's giving you more of like vistas to look at, but they want you to get everything. Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I just watched Top Gun Maverick on 4K at home, and it does that. Mm-hmm. But it never once bothered me.
Yeah.
Because usually it's keeping it to sequences.
Yeah.
Where it's like entire sequences were shot this way, and then we'll jump back into the regular scene coverage, and then there's a sequence shot this way, and then which is nice. That's another way to get around it, I think, is it's like, what is the high frame rate in Avatar? Yeah. Where it's like every other shot feels like it, and so you're like, I'm gonna throw up.
Yeah.
Let's do a version of After Yang with high frame rate.
I will kill you.
Yeah, I would expect you to. Well, okay. Another thing I want to just say real quick with Haley Lou Richardson, I believe.
You got it.
Okay, I was like, I looked it up before, and I followed her career for a hot minute now.
Yeah.
I think, and I said this after the movie, I was like, I think Florence Pugh has the career that she deserves, and that is not to say. Let me just say. I say that with absolute reverence because you know who I'm in love with? Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
I think Florence Pugh is maybe the
You are the chapter president of
the Florence Pugh.
Of the Florence Pugh Love Society.
Yeah, sure. That's a weird way to put that.
No, it's not. It's true. I don't know why they named it that. That's just strange. But that's on them. That's on you guys.
I think Florence Pugh might be the most talented person working today in their field. So in terms of actors, there's no one else that I see in the same way that I'm like, look, Florence Pugh could do it. I think that every time I watch a group of I was like, Florence Pugh could do it.
Florence Pugh, come on the podcast.
Yeah.
We'd love to.
I would love it. No, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I think she is so at the height of her field.
100%.
You know what I mean? In like the crazy way. And I think Haley Lou Richardson could be that.
Really?
In a different way. Not
some of the other I think this is the first thing I've ever seen her in.
She has popped up in a couple things. She is in this movie I really like that not a lot of people talk about with Haley Steinfeld.
Edge of 17.
Edge of 17. I really like the Edge of 17. And I think she's really good in it. She's a very, very supporting character.
Yeah.
But I really like her. She's just an actor I've been enamored with for a while. And I want her to get... I'm looking up other movies she's been in because... Every time somebody asks me what movie I've seen, I swear my response is, I've never seen a movie. I don't know what you're talking about. She's in Split.
Where is she in Split?
She's one of the three that gets kidnapped.
I have no memory of that.
And I
need to watch Split again.
She's in this movie that I don't think the movie's like great or anything, but it's 5 feet apart. It's about these like characters with a specific disease that if they get too close to someone else with the disease, they'll catch each other's germs and die.
Oh.
And she falls in love with someone who has the disease. Not like a great movie. Definitely not a bad movie.
Yeah.
She's in it, and I think she's genuinely wonderful. And it explores the idea of a character who is afraid to live so well. And I think she carries that. So I really want to watch Columbus now.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone tells me that movie rules. And after watching After Yang, I'm like, I want to see this pair go everywhere together.
You can watch that and then you can recommend it for the podcast.
Bet I'll do it. Anyway, I just think she is wonderful and has not. I like. She's one of those actors I want to do a deep dive on and just watch a bunch of their other movies. But all the other movies she's in, everyone's kind of like, she's the best part. Like that's including the movie. You know, like she's just the best part.
Yeah.
So I want to. Haley Lou Richardson, come on the podcast.
Come on the podcast, Haley. We love you here.
We really
love
do.
to talk to you. You're great.
Just about After Yang, Mo. We're just going to prod you about it. Yeah. Be like, hey, so like when you were filming...
I'm sure between now and when Haley comes on the podcast, which is going to happen.
Yeah.
Between now and then, we will have seen Columbus and some of her other stuff. So
anyway,
we'll have more to talk to her about.
I think she's wonderful. And in this movie, I think she has the scene that made me maybe the most emotional outside of the memories, because the memories just were like a throat punch.
Yeah.
But it's the scene when they're walking through the the museum where Yang would be displayed, and it just cuts to her with his body in this private little moment. And it's not this huge, like she starts bawling and grabbing it. It's this really quiet moment. And that, the idea of a clone loving a Technosapien. You've seen it twice. That's not fair. No, but a clone loving.
I've seen it twice in a week.
You have. Yes, you have.
Worth it. I love it.
Yeah, that just quiet moment of her being like, you know, and she even says early on, it's like, we didn't talk about it. And as somebody who is very ponderous about connection and relationships like me, I just think about it a lot of like romantic love versus platonic love versus brotherly versus familial. All of these things, like I find the connections people have fascinating. This was an honest moment of like, oh man, that was a gut punch looking at these two people who like shouldn't be in love. Like they literally asked, like, is Yang capable of this?
Yeah.
Don't really give you an answer, but when you see her, it's like, oh, he was capable of it.
Yeah.
Someone like her wouldn't fall in love with a thing. You know what I mean? It would have to be someone who could reciprocate and be a partner. And like, that was the beauty of that, where it's like, I don't know if they were ever like a relationship, but they loved each other in one way or another.
Yeah. And we also like the only thing we see is like his favorite memories of her.
And then her articulating a few things.
So we never even get to see it. We just like get to feel it through the memory of it.
Well, look, I'll say it's the shot of her at that concert.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where she's...
Shout out to Mitski. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Kogonada. Thank you, A24, for having the fucking guts to put Mitski in an A24 movie. And it was going to happen. Thank you for
I'm glad it was this one.
I'm glad it was this
but
one.
It's that moment where she's looking at him and then she looks and she fully experiences something, you know, and he's watching her, not the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like that moment where you can feel him fall in love with her.
Yeah.
That is that moment to me, is literally showing someone fall in love with someone.
Yeah.
And you don't even see his face. You just see how he's experiencing this moment and you go, oh, he's in love with her.
Yeah. And then we have the other memory of him looking at himself in the mirror wearing the shirt from the concert.
Mm-hmm. Man, this movie's good.
Good movie, guys.
I don't know that we've had a podcast episode that was just us gushing about something quite like this.
I have literally no complaints.
No, dude.
There's nothing I could or would change.
No, and it's another thing I really like. It's a quick 90, but it's quick. Quick 90. Feels airy in the right way. Yes. It feels like it gives its moments like time to breathe, where we're not rushing past stuff and we're living in it. And another thing I really like is it's PG. Now, I don't care about ratings at all, but I love how much of an emotional gut punch this movie is without showing anything to even warrant a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
It is just showing you life.
Yeah.
That is it.
Right.
It doesn't need the moment where he's like, fuck you, or the moment where you see nudity for some reason. Like it doesn't need any of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't need something to be like, well, this is the human condition. No, it is the human condition, though.
Right.
Like, oh, that's such a weird thing I very rarely think about, is like, after it was over, I was like, oh, that was PG. Because I don't check ratings before I watch stuff. I never do
either. I did not know.
Yeah, I literally, I was like, oh man. Because it feels like so mature in a way that so often when you watch a movie and you're like, this is PG because it's not that mature. But it feels like Spider-Verse kind of in that way, in that level of like deep maturity and existential. And I don't know. That's another weird thought I had after we watched it.
That's really funny. I did not notice that. Yeah, no, I agree. Anything above a PG-13 rating is not of God, and it is bad, and we must burn it to the ground.
You do know 90. Well, I don't know about that. You do know most of the podcast has been us watching R-rated
I know.
We're including ourselves.
Yes. Good movie.
Anyway, I genuinely deeply love this movie, and I'm so glad you showed it to me, because as soon as you watched it and were raving about it, it's like, I really want to watch it, but I didn't want to push you into making us do it for this episode.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you did.
I was going to recommend other things first, and I was like, no, I want to talk about this.
Cool. Like, I'm glad, because I already want to watch it again. Yeah. I want to find some idiot who hasn't seen it and make him watch it.
Yeah.
So I can experience it, so I can sit there and watch them and record the moments.
Yeah, I'm sure. Honestly, I wonder. I know I have some friends who may or may not have seen it, so we might be able to.
We'll do an After Yang part 2.
Part D.
I 100% would.
Yeah, literally. Honestly, I bet Ethan would be. I don't know if he's seen it. I kind of doubt it.
I doubt he's seen it, but he is a Colin Farrell fan. So
we love a Colin Farrell.
Yeah,
we love a Colin Farrell.
He's so good.
Yeah, he's so good in this, and he's
watch
so
the Banshees of Inisherin and the Batman and In Bruges and After Yang and basically anything he's done.
Yeah, Colin Farrell,
come on the pod,
Colin.
You know, a fun story I heard about him once is this. You know the story?
No.
The reporter. They were doing like a press junket for a movie he was in, and he was a big star at this point. And so his publicist, as they were prepping for the next one, was telling these reporters, you can't ask him this, you can't ask him that, you can't do this, you can't talk about this. And this person was new to this. This was their first time ever doing this. So they were so nervous about doing something. And as soon as they walked in, Colin Farrell went, forget all that bullshit. Ask me whatever you want. I was like, I love that. And him just going around complimenting everyone on this Banshees of Inisherin awards tour thing. Yeah. He's just like, you're great. The actors round table is amazing. You see so many moments of him be like, that's so powerful. Like he's just like genuinely empathizing with people. I love it. I love that guy.
Yeah. The glow up of Colin Farrell. I'm a stan.
Yes.
Go Colin Farrell.
Anyway, is there other things in After Yang that you're wanting to dive into or talk about? Things we missed? I feel like it was just us going, this was great. And that was great.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Like we said, I mean, it's like it's a pretty short movie. It's a quick 90, and it's like we said, like it covers some basic ideas so beautifully and so like deftly. Like I don't know, man. I think we covered it in all honesty.
Well, let's talk about this just really quickly. Lessons.
Yeah.
Is there any like key thing you're extracting from this? I mean, there's so much to garner and learn, of course.
Right. I mean, just like, again, like I've talked about earlier, like there's so many beautiful ways that you can talk about the human condition through a sci-fi premise, to where it's like you can like take another angle at an idea that you couldn't have without that sci-fi element.
Yeah.
So just like I just love the way that this movie like and that's another thing is like the optimism that this movie has about humanity, and like not all sci-fi takes have to be dark ones. Like it can be, I mean, even movies like Blade Runner, I think it has a beautiful idea of the human and like what makes us human. But I think
what is love and what is,
right. But it has a very pessimistic view about what the world is going to look like. It's like, I think this movie kind of threads both of those needles, where it's like, it's a beautiful world and it has a beautiful idea of humankind. And I really appreciate it for those. And I think that's something that's worth like taking forward into future ideas.
Yeah. I love that. I talked a little bit about in the searching episode. I typically write to a very cynical view of things, like within my thrillers, within my horror movies, like they usually end badly for characters. And I want to push myself to maybe possibly write something hopeful. And I've had a few ideas recently, and this is definitely, literally all day today, I was thinking about a couple of them that I was like, oh man, I should work on that. It's actually optimistic. But I think my lesson is a bit, we talked one time with somebody who was like, I never trust an audience. Audiences are dumb. This was forever ago. There's no reason you should remember this at all, but there's a lot of people starting out writing and starting out directing who are like that. They're like, an audience is dumb, they won't go with it. And I cannot tell you how much I disagree with that.
Yep.
It's like I talked about with the FaceTime thing in this. Like, it doesn't tell you they're on a FaceTime call. The first time, it doesn't even indicate necessarily that it's a FaceTime call, outside of a few pieces of like language.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah.
It talks about clones in a way where it's like, oh, that's going to be a big plot line. No, it's just talking about a different type of existence is all it is. And I don't need more than that.
Yeah.
Like the idea of Yang's memories is like, I make the leap and I understand in these past things. It's not sitting there like having the lean forward moment. I'm just sitting back and quietly contemplating it.
Yeah.
And that comes from trusting your audience.
Yeah.
There is a spoon-fed version of this movie that is not as good.
And it's 45 minutes longer just because it's explaining all the sci-fi bullshit. It's like, and it doesn't need that.
Yeah. And so that's something that really impressed me, and something I'm really taking away from it is like, I need to trust my audience, but I love that in conjunction with being hopeful.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have optimistic views about things. It's okay for that, but trust your audience and write to what's natural to the story. And if you're exploring something, it's okay to sometimes wear your heart on your sleeve a little bit.
Yeah.
And be hopeful about the future.
Yep. I think those are wonderful things to take away. I mean, yeah, I completely agree about like trusting your audience and things like that. I can't wait to ask you after the pod who said that, because I have no memory of that. Yeah, like I completely agree with that. Like, this movie doesn't waste time trying to tell you why there are people studying techno sapiens and why there are clones and how it came to be, and all. It doesn't waste your time with any of that. It's just like, this is what it is, and like, come on, let's go.
Yep.
It's like we've got more important things to talk about than the difference between a techno sapien and a clone.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that idea. And with that, and with our love for Colin Farrell, let's jump on to the B segment. So we last weekend was the Golden Globes. As you're hearing this was 2 weekends ago or something, whatever. Time is a flat circle and I do not understand it.
It's a construct.
It's a construct. It really is. So we're just going to go through and talk about the Golden Globe winners and whether or not we agree or disagree or how we feel about it, whatever. So let me pull up a list real quick.
I want to start with award shows are stupid and also very, very fun. Like, I used to love the Oscars and get really romantic about it, and I still do in a lot of ways. Like, catch me crying when Brendan Fraser wins. God, I hope. Yeah. But awards are stupid. Love things regardless of whether or not they win awards, and don't throw, well, it won Best Picture in there. No. That is not justified. Anyway, it's topical. Let's go through it.
How much do we want to talk about shows?
I don't really want to talk about shows. Let's keep this movies.
Keep it to movies here. Yeah, you're welcome for that. Limited series or
no?
Nope. Okay. Well, just never mind. Sorry, there's a bunch on here. Best original song. The best original song motion picture. The nominees, I could not think of the word nominees. The nominees were Carolina by Taylor Swift, Ciao Papa by Andre Desplat and Guillermo del Toro, Robin Katz, Hold My Hand, Lady Gaga for Top Gun Maverick, Lift Me Up for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and Natu Natu for RRR. And the winner was Natu Natu for RRR. Yeah. Screw you, Taylor Swift. Screw you, Swifties. This one's for RRR.
Yes. A movie that I'm going to make you watch soon.
I cannot wait. Legitimately cannot wait.
Like, that in a movie with his crazy sequences and like batshit nuts stuff as that movie has, that scene rules so hard. Yeah. I love it desperately.
I've seen maybe like 10 seconds worth of clips from that scene of them of
the dance.
Yeah, I've seen like very little of it.
You go to screenings of it and people just know how to do the dance and they get up and do it. It's like a party in the theater. And I was like, I want to go to one so bad.
I love that.
Oh, RRR rules, and that song deserves it.
Yeah, I think of this list, the one that I loved the most was probably Ciao Papa from Pinocchio. I love that song. I love that. I just love that movie. Yeah. So that one probably would have been my pick, but deep, just a personal one. Best original score, motion picture. We've got Banshees of Inisherin, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Women Talking, Babylon, and The Fablemans. John Williams for The Fablemans, and it went to Justin Hurwitz for Babylon.
I have some feelings on this.
Interesting.
I have now seen Babylon, by the way, and I am surprised to tell you I'm a Babylon enjoyer. That movie is crazy and also pretty damn good. We
found a Babylonian.
Yeah, there's one of us, right? It's actually Ryan Connolly's favorite movie of the year.
Really?
It's his favorite movie of the year.
Dude, there are a bunch of people who it's like, you either don't like it or it's your favorite movie of the year.
Look, I'll tell you what. The first 30 or 40 minutes are you're either going to love this or you need to leave the theater now because it's not slowing down.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I loved it. There's some stuff in there that I don't love. It doesn't need to be as long as it is. I don't
Right.
think it's a perfect movie, but I really like Babylon. I think it's a good movie. And I love the score.
Yeah.
The score's brilliant. There's one obvious one score missing from here.
Yeah.
The Batman.
Yeah.
Where's the love for Michael Giacchino? And again, this comes down to like a genre thing. Like
Yeah.
award shows are so prejudiced to genre and to like.
And the Golden Globes, do they even make a passing hint at trying not to pretend like they're fake?
No, you buy them. I mean, that's all it is.
So it's like, I don't know, like more than any other award show, I take the hugest of asterisks for all of these awards, just because I mean I don't think it's any stretch of the imagination to say that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association isn't exactly a wonderful organization.
Brendan Fraser spoke out against them.
Yeah.
Literally.
We will get to that in a minute. Best screenplay motion picture. We've got Tar. We've got Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Banshees of Inisherin, Women Talking, and The Fabelmans. Do you know what won? Do you know what do you think won?
The Banshees of Inisherin.
You got it. Yeah. Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin. Super. I mean, I can't argue with that.
Now that list is a good list. Like, you know what I mean? It's a
list.
great list. But
Yeah.
the Banshees of Inisherin, again, is one of those movies that has the least amount of tension and finds the most tension out of it. You know what I mean? It's
100%.
crazy. It's so good.
Was that your pick for screenplay?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too.
I love the screenplay. And
Yeah.
again, it's like, I could pick the Batman,
Yeah.
but in variety's sake, the Banshees of Inisherin is brilliant.
For me, I remember I chose Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I'm such a fucking stan of that movie.
Yeah.
I can't help it.
You-
Being said, Banshees is like
Wonderful.
wonderful answer.
Yeah.
Like that was my backup for screenplay. Best director motion picture. James Cameron, Avatar. Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Baz Luhrmann for Elvis. Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, and Stevie Spiels for The Fabelmans. Obviously, I had to go to Stevie.
Yeah.
We had to give it to Stevie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Baz Luhrmann.
There's a lot of other directors who deserve that. Jordan Peele, Ty West, Matt Reeves. So many others.
Basically any other movie
Yeah.
that was even remotely decent.
I know.
No, yes, there are a lot of moving pieces in that movie, but like that is a most direction award nomination, not best direction award
That's the best way to put it.
Best performance by an actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. Brendan Gleeson, Banshees of Inisherin, Barry Keoghan. How do you pronounce Keoghan?
I think so.
Okay, Barry Keoghan for Banshees of Inisherin. Brad Pitt for Babylon. Did not know he got nominated for that. Ke Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse. And of course, it went to Ke Kwan.
If you want to cry, just watch his acceptance speech.
Jeez.
It is so beautiful, and like he's having the time of his life on this tour and bearing his soul any chance he gets. And I want nothing but joy and happiness for this man for the rest of eternity.
Yep.
I love him. I'm so happy for him. And he so thoroughly, it's rare to walk out of a movie as early in the year as Everything Everywhere All at Once and be like, yeah, so best supporting actors locked down. That one's a shoo-in.
Yeah.
And that being said, I also think best actress in a lot of ways feels kind of locked down with Michelle Yeoh, and I think she's brilliant. But him in particular, I gravitated to that performance and that character and that man so much.
Yeah.
And he has everything going for him, and I hope he wins the Oscar.
Preach. I completely agree. Best performance by an actress in a supporting role in any motion picture. Angela Bassett, Black Panther. Carrie Condon for Banshees of Inisherin. Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Dolly DeLeon, Triangle of Sadness. And then Carrie Mulligan for She Said. And it went to Angela Bassett, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Oh, dude.
Called it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she had me crying in the movie. You know what I mean? The scene when she's like, "Have I not given everything?"
Yes,
dude.
literally.
I was like a mess in the theater.
Yeah.
She's so good in Black Panther too.
She is so good in that.
Very well deserved. Very happy for her.
Yeah, phenomenal. I mean, Carrie Condon. Also,
yes,
phenomenal performance.
I think Carrie Condon may have given the best supporting actress performance of the year. You know what I mean? I said so in the Whaties.
Yeah,
But I'm also incredibly happy for Angela Bassett, and I think that's great, and I think it's also very well deserved.
Right.
I think she's excellent.
I mean, I also love Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yes.
Like that is so fun. The memes. Have you seen the meme of her when Michelle Yeoh? Spoilers for later in this episode. When Michelle Yeoh won Best Actress, there's like Jamie Lee Curtis was like right behind her. I love it so much. And I've seen like memes like either be a Jamie for someone or get you a Jamie.
Yeah,
like
that's so funny.
Try to find a Jamie and be a Jamie.
Yeah.
And I love that so much. That's such a sweet idea of like just being a Jamie for somebody and trying to find a Jamie. And then best motion picture non-English language. We've got All Quiet on the Western Front from Germany, Argentina 1985 from, you guessed it, Argentina. Close in Belgium, Decision to Leave from South Korea, and RRR from India. Do you know what one? It wasn't RRR.
I know that much.
Argentina 1985. I legitimately look, I am a stupid American who speaks stupid English, and so I haven't even heard of Argentina 1985.
I've heard of it vaguely.
Yeah.
I'm amazed Decision to Leave didn't win.
Really?
That's been one of the most talked about movies of the year.
Interesting. Okay. Even more so than RRR?
Or
even All Quiet on the Western Front.
Decision to Leave is more of like an awards movie than RRR.
Okay.
When you watch RRR, you'll know what I mean by that.
I know what you mean
RRR
by that already.
is too cool to win a bunch of awards, you know what I mean? It's destined to be that movie that's like too good to have won everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Then we've got Best Motion Picture Animated, and of course, Daddy GDT with Pinocchio. The other nominees were Inu-Oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On.
Why is that an animated movie?
Because Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is claymation.
I know, but the rest of the movie is live action.
Yeah, but the main characters are.
All right.
I'm not.
It's just strange to me.
I agree. It was like the time when The Lion King was not up for Best Animated Feature, but for special effects.
Yeah.
That's all. They're all animated.
It's just animated.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and then Turning Red.
Now, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish rips. That movie is so good.
I'm taking away your Captain Slut.
I didn't say better than Pinocchio. Mr. Jumps to Conclusions. I just said that movie also rips.
You should have started with this sentence. I love Pinocchio more, but
he jumped over what I was saying, and now he's defending himself.
Because you need to profess your love for everything, dude. GDT.
I dream GDT, bro.
I am so disappointed in you. I'm just kidding. Best performance by an actor in a motion picture, musical or comedy. We've got Diego Calva for Babylon, Daniel Craig for Glass Onion, Adam Driver for White Noise, Colin Farrell, The Banshees of Inisherin, and Ralph Fiennes, right? I don't know. I am stupid. We've discovered this. And of course I went to Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin.
Because he's brilliant in that movie. There's no two ways about it.
I love Daniel Craig in Glass Onion. I've heard Diego Calva's great in Babylon.
He is great.
And same with Ralph Fiennes.
But yes, also,
Colin Farrell's like phenomenal.
Yeah,
he's like really good in that movie.
His introduction shot in that movie alone is like.
There's no world where that character wasn't written for him. You know what I mean?
He's actually talked about that, and I think I can't remember what he said, but I know he said they weren't expecting to work together again. Him and Martin, like they weren't like planning it. Like it just kind of came about, and he was like, "I think you're hit this," you know.
Interesting.
So I'd be curious, like if he started writing and went, "I want Colin to play this role,"
right? I mean,
and
it
then
just
like
feels
wrote it
so
from there.
perfect for him.
Yeah.
Best performance by an actress in a motion picture, musical or comedy. We've got Leslie Manville for Miss Harris Goes to Paris, Margot Robbie in Babylon, Anya Taylor-Joy The Menu, Emma Thompson Good Luck to You, Leo Grande, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
We already said it, but Michelle Yeoh won.
Queen.
A lot of great performances on that list, but Michelle Yeoh definitely deserves it.
Just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely
She's
phenomenal.
So good.
Yeah. Like, what is there to say?
Nothing.
So I'm not going to say anything. Best motion picture, musical or comedy. We've got Babylon, Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Glass Onion, and Triangle of Sadness. And the winner was Banshees of Inisherin. I'm not mad.
I'm not mad. It's just strange that the Banshees of Inisherin is very funny, but it's also like not.
That's the
dumb thing about the Golden Globes.
That's why it's so freaking flawed.
Yeah, of that list, I think I would have given it Everything Ever All at Once.
Yeah, like that. It wasn't going to be Everything Ever All at Once, Banshees of Inisherin,
great movie and deserves it.
It's so good. Yeah. I'm not mad about it at all. My personal choice would be Everything Ever All at Once, but like I've stated before, it's my favorite thing ever. Yeah. So, all right, best performance by an actor in a motion picture drama: Austin Butler, Elvis, Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Brendan Fraser, The Whale. Hugh Jackman, The Son, Bill Nighy, Living, and Jeremy Pope for The Inspection. And the winner was Austin Butler in Elvis.
What a weird list.
What a strange list. And here is where I start to talk shit more about the Hollywood Foreign Press Association. It is just so clear that they were like, you're not going to come to my event even after the leader of this organization groped you. You don't get the award then, idiot. Fuck that. Like, look, did Austin Butler put in a wonderful performance? Yes. In spite of how bad that movie is. Yes. And look, again, it's bought and paid for. And you know that they weren't putting any money towards, Brendan Fraser's people weren't putting for your consideration for the Golden Globes. That wasn't happening. So honestly, it's surprising he's even on the nominees list. But man,
look, I'm going to say it. Everything else aside, fuck the Hollywood Foreign Press completely. Yeah. Good on you, Brendan Fraser. He said early when it became apparent that he probably was going to win everything, he went, nope, not doing that one. My mother didn't raise a hypocrite, literally his words. And I was like, good on you. I love you. Hug me.
Yeah.
He's just amazing. And I, as a person and as an artist, and I love Brendan Fraser. I love him dearly.
I mean, look, if you're going to be I don't know, again, is there a world where Austin Butler actually just won it? Yeah. Is that a possibility that Austin Butler just won it? Because Elvis is the exact type of movie that the Hollywood Foreign Press Association would nut over. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is the exact type of movie. But I also think that Brendan Fraser's performance in The Whale was
transcendent.
Yeah, leaps and bounds. In the same way that I think that I think The Whale is a deeply flawed movie in a similar way that I think Elvis is, but Austin Butler I don't think quite reaches the same heights as Brendan Fraser does in The Whale. You know what I mean? He's so transcendently good in that movie that I don't love. And Elvis and Austin Butler and Elvis, he is really, really good, but he can't get past how bad that movie is to me.
No, he can't.
So, again, there's a world where Austin Butler actually did just win that award.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, it should have been Brendan Fraser. But
absolutely. But also good on Brendan Fraser.
Also, not going to lie, I would have loved for Austin Butler to say anything in his speech about anything. He was just thanks and see ya.
What did you want him to say?
I don't know. So he could have said anything other than at least address the elephant in the room.
The elephant being
the fact that Brendan Fraser,
the fact that there was an elephant in the room and we haven't talked about. I'm kidding.
I mean, just everything with Brendan Fraser. Just he could have, acknowledge that in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree and I disagree. I mean, look, we've talked about this. I think Austin Butler winning the Oscar would be the worst thing that could happen for him this early in his very promising career because he's very talented.
Yeah.
But if he's gonna be winning these awards, I think it's okay that he did that. I mean, we also forget he's really young, isn't he? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm chilling on him, but I agree that he could have said something.
I'm not mad. I'm not.
But there's room to say something about that.
Yeah. Best performance by an actress in a motion picture drama. We've got Cate Blanchett for Tar, Olivia Colman, Empire of Light.
Blanchett. Have y'all seen that clip?
No.
I'll show you the Quentin Tarantino presented. He's like saying all the names when he's like Steven Spielberg, Kate Blanchett. It's very funny.
I love it.
It's my favorite thing.
Viola Davis, The Woman King, Ana de Armas, Blonde, Michelle Williams, The Fablemans, and the winner was Kate Blanchett for Tar.
I think
I feel like that's going to be a common theme.
I'm sure she'll win the Oscar, which I, again, haven't seen Tar, but I'm positive when I do, I'll love her performance.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard only good things about that movie and only good things about her performance in it.
Yeah.
So, Best Motion Picture Drama: Avatar, The Way of Water, Elvis, The Fablemans, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick. And the winner was The Fablemans.
This is super heartwarming.
Yeah.
I love The Fablemans.
That one was a little bit of a surprise, if you ask me.
No,
honestly.
I agree. It's surprising.
Like, I love it, though. I absolutely love that movie. And so I'm no complaints from me.
All the people who'd be voting on awards are like nutting over it, I'm sure, a little bit. I mean, it's designed for that. Yeah.
It's definitely it's an old person movie.
Yeah.
In a way that, like, Top Gun Maverick might not. Well, even then, that's a
dad
movie. So yeah, what did you think of the awards overall?
Mostly really happy with it. Again, award shows are stupid, but like it's fun to see people win awards who just wholesomely deserve it. And there was a couple of those this time around, and that makes me so happy.
There were a lot of those. Honestly, there were very few that I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like there were very few of those this year, and I feel like there's usually a lot for the Golden Globes. So like, you know what? Shouts out Golden Globes. You're a bad organization, but you did some people right this time, I think. Yeah, I wish I don't have any thoughts on the award show or anything, or on very few people's speeches because I didn't watch the show, or like Gerard Carmichael as the host.
I heard, this is very funny. This is what Twitter is. On one side of the spectrum was like praising him, and he's like, oh, he's making fun of these people, and he's doing this, and he's calling out Scientology and whatever, all these things. And then on the other side, he made fun of Whitney Houston, and a lot of people were like, I hate this guy, that's so tasteless, and I have not seen either joke he made.
Yeah.
So I have no take on that, but that's what being on Twitter is like. He's either the best host they've ever had or the worst, according to Twitter. So, I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway.
Recommendations?
I have one. I've talked about this on the podcast before, but we're talking about sci-fi, and we're talking about using sci-fi in interesting ways. Look up nothing about this movie whatsoever and go in and watch it. It's on Hulu. It's called Palm Springs. Oh. And I love Palm Springs. I've got a big, long story I could tell, but I'm not gonna. I saw it at Sundance.
We need to find a chump who hasn't seen that movie and do that as an episode of the podcast.
Yeah, Palm Springs is one of my favorite movies. I saw it at Sundance and walked out and was like, that was made for me as a person.
Literally.
And I adore it and watch the movie. Literally go in knowing nothing. Don't even look at a poster. Don't even look who's in it. Just go to Hulu, type in Palm Springs, turn it on, watch. Trust me, it's brilliant. I love that movie dearly. And that's all I'll say because I really don't want to give too much away. But
I have less of a connection with the movie for my recommendations. I'm going off of movies that I'm watching for my what are we calling it? My challenge, my Letterboxd
your holy quest.
Yeah, my unholy quest of watching the movies that I haven't seen on Letterboxd Top 250. So I watched 2 movies on that list this week. It was a slow week for me. I had a lot of stuff to do this in the evenings this week. But the 2 movies that I watched were My Neighbor Totoro. I had never seen it. And then also City Lights, the Charlie Chaplin movie, City Lights. Both of them are phenomenal. And both of them are stone cold classics.
Yep.
My Neighbor Totoro is a wonderful, beautiful, quiet little just hang out, chill movie. And then like City Lights is like a, silent comedy masterpiece. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of the most famous, one of the best made, comedy and like has like a surprisingly like sweet and effective story throughout and like ending.
Yeah.
It's a, banger and it's a classic. So I recommend both of those because they're both really good. So if you haven't seen any of the things we've talked about, go and watch it. If you haven't seen City Lights, if you haven't seen My Neighbor Totoro, if you haven't seen Palm Springs, definitely. That one's a good one. Go watch it or don't. I don't know. live your life.